We are back with another history episode, so cue the donut media jokes and put up with like the Linus Tech Tips things and just put it all aside, okay? It's just, I'm the budget looking guy, I get it, which is me, but whatever. We're gonna go into a history on a brand that we don't carry yet and has absolutely nothing to do with anything other than the fact that it was requested solely by me. We are talking to you today about Liberty Walk. You know, that like the guys, the company that cuts up really expensive cars and puts big old Johnnies on them that would make Jasper proud? Yeah, those guys. Oh, by the way, it's me, Alex, Fitment Industries, so maybe subscribe or whatever. I mean, that's just how I get to stay here and eat tacos. The story kicks off with a man named Wataru Kato. This young man was a part of the old school car culture, a Kaizosha Bosuzoku style, and then the Kaido riders, Bosuzoku, whatever. I think it's the last one. Bosuzoku is a tier within the Japanese culture and how crazy you get with modifying your car and why. You know that style, it's got like the wide bodies, the wide wheels, the over fenders, like the chin that's like 9 inches long. Like they're pretty much built for like attention, and then there's a whole bunch of tiers within it. Then pretty much they were made to avoid like getting in trouble with the cops. Like they'd be so extensive in terms of what they were doing to the car that cops couldn't even like report the things that people were doing on the Japanese roads. They'd be like, yeah, what was it? Yeah, it was a white car. The exhaust tips were like easily 10 feet tall. Yeah, anything else? No, it was a white car. Do you have anything else? No, man, that is though. Kaido, which means street, riders, and Bosuzoku style in Japan were huge, and Wataru was a part of it all. Wataru and his group of friends were pretty much just straight badasses. They drive Skylines with like riveted on over fenders in the night streets of Japan, running lights, lighting fires, and kicking tires, because that was pretty much all he wanted to do. And his group of friends would go terrorize the cities of Japan, which is pretty much like what any young kid would want to do with their car. And he had the wide fenders, he had everything that was excessive, eccentric, and loud. So essentially he got into his early 20s and was like, well, why don't I do this myself? So Wataru, at the young age of 25 or 26, and there's some sources that say things different, essentially started his own shop, and Liberty Walk was born. Wataru wanted to take what made everything great about the scene, all the eccentric excessiveness of it, and push it even further. And you have to remember, everything about the style was loud, it was colorful, it was angry, it was absolutely f***ing nuts. And Wataru started doing just that. The translation of Liberty Walk actually means to walk free, which is essentially what Liberty Walk was all about. Starting with 2 employees and 2 cars, Wataru began turning like something of like a nighttime hobby into like a full-on J-O-B. And he was actually doing like relatively okay. Wataru and his Liberty Walk team began getting into like the modification as much as possible, but really didn't make like any headlines until like later into the 2000s. We don't really want to talk about it. But Liberty Walk essentially really started to create waves by sending their cars over to SEMA and like begging companies like Dub to have them displayed in their booth. In fact, Liberty Walk used to not even insure the cars that would be coming over here, because at first they really didn't like know if it was going to work out, and they really didn't want to spend the money. And it just overall ended up, I mean, kind of working out for them and kind of not. And you have to remember, this is like 2006, and they were begging Dub of all wheel companies to sponsor and show their ride, which is kind of a coinky-dink in my eyes when you look at the companies in retrospect of each other in current day. Years passed, and it wasn't until in 2008 a friend approached Mr. Kato and asked if he would work on his car to push the envelope of its already aggressive look. Not really an issue until you realize that the car that they were working on was a Lamborghini Murcielago. And just like that, an idea was formed, and LB Performance was born, which was essentially the high-end variant of the Liberty Walk name. That Lamborghini made its way across the lovely Pacific Ocean and into the convention halls of SEMA 2009, and needless to say, it went pretty well for him. Social media was like just beginning to like take over the world, and people couldn't believe what they saw. They were like, oh, dear guy, the darn fenders there are all cut up. How you gonna do with that there, guy? And it overall worked pretty well for them, but they really didn't have much more than that. People were interested, but they weren't necessarily selling anything. They would return to SEMA in 2012 with a revamped design with the same car called the Works Over Fenders, were a more revised, more aggressive body kit that pretty much worked within the body lines of the car further and with greater detail. But instead of begging for like an uninsured car to hopefully make it into a booth, it actually got set up with the big dog, like the big dog, the Toyo booth. Wataru was on his last leg, and if you actually take a look into the history, I mean, he really had been promoting this thing for like a crazy long time. And he was at the point where if SEMA 2012 wasn't going to deliver him anything, him and his team were probably going to hang up the proverbial lab coats and call it quits because they had spent so much time trying to make it work. But then they finally hit the SEMA gold mine. People loved what Liberty Walk was doing, and they were finally starting to sell their body kits. They returned with more high-end cars featuring wide over fenders, angry faces, angry wheels, and everything in between year after year after year again until they eventually started taking over SEMA. People could not stop talking about what Mr. Kato was doing, and he was feeling pretty good about himself, and I would too. I mean, Liberty Walk and all of its components were pretty much hand building these cars individually for each customer. They weren't doing it on some 350Z or a Cressida anymore. They were chopping up Ferraris, Lamborghinis, GTRs. And pretty much ever since then, since their big launch in the early 2010, the Liberty Walk name is pretty much synonymous with doing crazy things with crazy cars. But that's not what makes Liberty Walk so incredible. You can find like early quotes of this man saying things like, you shouldn't be afraid to cut up a Ferrari, or you shouldn't have to worry if the car is gonna drive straight. And like, if it's not hurting you, then it shouldn't matter what I do to my cars, which you think about things that people say like that and you're like, yeah, power to the man, just, you know, screw the other people. But nobody really ever actually like reacts to that sort of stuff. No, they just say it and then they move on. Wataru and the Liberty Walk team and the performance, the whole brand behind it is the like exact like combined statement of do what you want, make it excessive, and make it crazy. And they pretty much have been enthusiasts for like their entire life. They are what they say they are, and they do exactly what they want to do. The capability of the team is just like truly something else. And without having to worry about naysayers or what people say you can or can't do, it's pretty neat to see a company do so well for having that sort of mentality. His business and everything that the Liberty Walk name stands for is something that's extremely exciting. You see him involved in all the car scenes, all the car shows, everything in between, everything you could possibly imagine, which is exactly what you would want to see from somebody who pretty much says, "F you, I won't do what you tell me." So what do you think about Liberty Walk cars? Let us know in the comment section below. Let us know if you want to bring this awesome series back. It's one of the ones that like set us off way back in the day. It doesn't, I mean, we haven't made them recently, so I mean, I get it if you guys are salty about it. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. If you're looking for wheels, tires, suspension, check out fitmentindustries.com. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. Oh yeah, by the way, we are doing a giveaway with TSW. I got the shirt on and I almost got yelled at, which means I wouldn't have gotten ramen if I forgot to bring it up. But hey, links in the description if you want a free set of wheels and get a cool shirt. We'll see you later. Peace.